Good morning and welcome everyone to Center for Spiritual Living, Leesburg. Our theme for this year is Living Everyday Wonder. And last month we explored emotions. Now it's June, we're moving on to something new. We're going to be focusing on body for the month of June. The title of our talk today is Welcome to the Temple, and it will be given by our wonderful spiritual director, Charlene Banks. We're so glad that you joined us here today. Please feel free to add to the chat or in the comments any prayer requests or celebrations that you would like us to include later in our service when we provide our community spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. Now we're going to kick off our service officially with our welcome video. So sit back, relax, and thank you so much for joining us today. Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
And so it is indeed. Welcome everyone to our service. I'll just stop sharing for a moment here and just say welcome to June this month, and thank you, Tamara, for introducing it so well. This month the topic is the body. And as you know, last month it was all about emotions. And so with this month, it's a beautiful flow right into the body and how it affects us and what does the emotion have to do with it. And so I will be taking us through a visualization meditation a little bit further into the service. So for now, let's just welcome Leah and Layla.
Hello, Giselle.
Okay, hold on. I forgot to share. Sorry. Let me go back. I forgot to share. Okay. Let's try that again.
Sullivan, it's a favorite of mine personally. How's everybody doing? This is Masterpiece by Jasmine Sullivan. It's a favorite of mine personally for hyping myself up, raising my own energy. So let it be that for everyone today. My eyes ain't used to this grace. I'm feeling exposed, but I can't hide no more, I can't hide. As the sun shines on all of my glory, my thoughts don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of? Every part of me is a vision, like a portrait of Mona Lisa. Every part of me is beautiful, and I finally see I'm a work of art, a masterpiece. Oh, who is this I tried so long to fight? Filling my head with lies that I'm not good enough. Then I heard something in my ear tell me I'm perfect. Now that I know the truth, time to show it. Every part of me is a vision, like a portrait of Mona Lisa. Every part of me is beautiful, and I finally see I'm a work of art, a masterpiece. Every part of me is a vision, like a portrait of Mona Lisa. Every part of me is beautiful, and I finally see I'm a work of art, a masterpiece.
Woo! That is applause coming from all around for every person listening. Ah, every part of me is beautiful. It's a masterpiece. What a beautiful pair, Layla and Leah. Oh, so sweet and lovely and angelic. And so, what a great way to start. So, good morning and welcome to this topic. The body, every part of me is beautiful, is perfect, is magnificent. Amen, sister. Because I have to tell you, this society that we live in doesn't necessarily kind of enforce that message. We were created in the image of the divine. That means every person is exactly the way we're meant to be. And we would never walk up to an oak tree and put it to shame because it's not a maple tree. That's just dumb. But how many times do we look at Instagram or our friends or anybody and compare ourselves and then put ourselves sort of to shame just a little bit for not being like that? Stop it. Stop it now. Because we are on purpose. Everything that has been placed in our being, in our bodies, and in our surroundings is here for a reason. We are divine. And let's remember that that's what Jesus told us, as well as all the other prophets and all the other way showers. Jesus being the most familiar one with this culture. But throughout all ancient history, it was the body is the temple of the divine. Now, there was a time, I'm not going to, lie. There was a time when the body was off limits to science. And in fact, science was off limits to religion. And there were times when you'd get in trouble if you tried to design or define or even diagram the body. There was a time when people got thrown in jail for trying to discern this vessel that is of the domain of the gods. And no, thou shalt not try to go in there and look in the body. It was kind of forbidden. But of course, we've moved past that now, and science did this thing. And I feel like it was the start of the problem. Science did this thing. It separated the body from the divine so that they could study the body without getting in trouble with the divinity people, with the priests and whoever was in charge of the divine. They separated the body out and said, well, you have spirit and religion and that. And then we have the physical, and it's separate. And now we get to pick it apart and do what we need to do because we had to separate it because y'all couldn't tolerate it when it was together. I mean, I feel like that separation was the start of the problem because some of us have started to live as if the body is just like a thing to carry around my beautiful brain. And I don't really have to worry about how I feed it or treat it. It's kind of in the way a lot of times. You'll find many intellectual people, many creative types will stay in their brain, stay in their minds, and sort of disown their body. There have been some teachings that say that the body is the problem, that that's where the sin is. And who you're going to serve, your body or your God, like they're separate. But again, that's the issue. We've separated something that's not really separate. This is the temple of the divine. We are the vessels of spirit as we walk around. We are the hands of God. We are the feet of God. And if you don't like that word God, let's go with the dude, the dudess, the goddess. Let's go with the spirit. There is an ineffable presence living and moving and having its being through us as us. And we are at the little, in the micro, what this divine presence is in the macro. And we teach this. This is something Ernest Holmes, of course, the founder of our teaching, taught and teaches through our materials, that we are on the small scale, the creative force in our lives, similar to that universal spirit, which is the creative force of this entire existence. So when God said, let there be light, there was light. And when God said, let there be, there was that. And so we in our personal lives, when we say, let there be, well, there it is. We know that when we walk around stressed out and panicked and in fear, that we create bodily symptoms that go with it. That is the creative process in the individual. What we think about, we bring about. Our minds can cause our physiological situation to change, whether we like it or not, whether we do it on purpose or not. We've all met people who are doom and gloom all the time. And guess what follows them? Doom things and gloom things follow them. It's no mistake. We've also met people that are cheerful and happy for no good reason, it seems, and they uplift us when we get in their presence. They shine this light that makes you feel happy to be around them, and they're amazing to be around. I have a nephew, Cootie, who is that shining bright light. He comes in a room, and I don't care if there's a room where two people aren't talking to each other because they're mad. If Cootie comes in the room, he has everybody laughing within minutes. He's that bright light. He sees you, he recognizes you. His smile is infectious, and it's just a pleasure. He's been that way since he was tiny. He'd come up and say, Auntie Shar, what's going on? How you doing? Just the sweetest thing in the world. Now, recently he was in a motorcycle accident, and it just devastated all of us. We're like, oh, everybody stop. Everybody stop what you're doing. Everybody start praying. We started praying from coast to coast. We had that boy wrapped in prayer, and his local family got going, and they've all started all the things you do when your family member is in critical ICU emergency conditions. But the first thing that came to me was, oh, Cootie, it's Cootie. He's got this. He's got this. He is that bright light that shines no matter what. He is that. And I thought, God forbid, even the worst case scenario, he's going to make it work. Whatever he ends up with on a physical plane, his spirit will make that work. And it's so cool because everyone else said the same thing. Everyone on all the text threads were like, well, if anybody's got this, it's Cootie. And he's beautiful, he's perfect, he's whole. And then my sister, his mom, texted the group, and I just love what she said. I'm just gonna have to read it exactly because it was so awesome. It's exactly what I know to be true, and it's this teaching. So she says, hold up. I gotta scroll. There's a lot of things people said. Give me a second. But it's just so perfectly scrumptious. It was like, okay, I'm gonna have to paraphrase because, oh my Lord. Okay, here it is. Thank you all. Her affirmation is this: the same power that knit Chakuti's body together perfectly in my womb is healing and revitalizing his body now in its perfect pattern. I'm like, and so it is, right? Because think about this. We are creating every moment, we're creating our bodily functions. We're doing our heart's beating without our conscious awareness of it. Our liver's doing what livers do. Our kidneys are draining things out and filtering. It's doing it. We don't have to consciously do it. Our bodies know how to remain in stasis and for our highest good. It just knows, it's built in. Now, what happens when stress hits us? It depends on your temperament. There are some people that look at stress as a challenge. That stressful situation causes them to rise up and handle it. And they almost thrive in the midst of what seems to be chaos. That same situation on a different temperament would take that person down and make them very despondent or just in despair and cause pain and more, drama than maybe was warranted. Now, stress itself, therefore, is not the cause of disease or illness. It's not stress itself, it's our response to stress. So the scientists call this the stress response. What happens when you're in the middle of stress? And they also make a differentiation. I thought this was interesting. Martin Rossman, the teacher of my current class that I'm in, called the Worry Solution. I always show this book. I'm loving this book, The Worry Solution, using your healing mind to turn stress and anxiety into better health and happiness. Yes, please. Who wouldn't want that? He says this, that there's a difference between disease and illness. Check it out. He says disease is the objective thing that it goes wrong. I wrote down exactly what it is because, my brain. Disease is the objective thing that goes wrong, and illness is the subjective meaning that we make from it. Disease meaning I've been diagnosed with X. My illness then is how I'm interpreting that and how I'm moving through life. He gave an example of a woman who's about 54 years old who started experiencing some arthritis, and she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and it would affect her intermittently. And when it affected her, she was to take certain medication and move differently during the time it was affecting her. That was the disease. The illness is what she interpreted it to mean. She decided that she no longer could do housework because of this disease, because of her illness. Turns out she didn't really like the housework anyway. She decided she could no longer hang out with her friends or go anywhere because of her illness. And she became less and less and less engaged with her social life, and she allowed that to take her down sort of a dark path. That's a disease, but it's interpreted through and as her illness, and that's where she took it. Now he compares this to the woman who, 32 years old, diagnosed, fully has this disease of, I forget the name of it. She's paralyzed from the neck down. I think there's something, because he talked about her moving around in a wheelchair. And so maybe not fully paralyzed. So he talked about her moving into the room, coming in to see him. She comes in the room, 32 years old, bright smile, happy to see him. How you doing? And he said every time he sees her and he hears about her life, he feels guilty because he's like, I am not making my life as good as she's making her life. And look at her, she's in a wheelchair. She does not let it define her. And she moves through and she's a blessing everywhere she goes. She told him recently that her plans now is she and her partner, her husband, are going to have a baby. And he's like, I have no idea how she's going to do that. But if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be her, because she just has that can-do attitude. And that's what reminded me of Chakuti. Like, he's that come in the room, smile at you, how you doing, what's up, give me a hug. That kind of energy you just want to be around, and it makes you want to be a better person. So do we have the ability to direct the healing of our bodies? That is another question. Can we direct it? Now, so if we know that the mind and the body are inextricably connected, spirit, mind, and body inextricably connected, we know that our minds can direct disease. Our minds, if we dwell upon something long enough, we can get sick. Our minds then, can our minds heal us? Yes, the mind can heal us. They've done studies. I know Tamara can, and Sonia too, who's here, can attest to this. We learn in our practice, in our studies, about the placebo effect. Have you heard of it? The placebo effect is when doctors give patients an inert medicine, an inert substance like water, a sugar pill, something that doesn't do a thing, but they tell the patient that this pill is designed to cure what ails them. The patients take this medicine, and 55% of the time, it's effective. 55% of the time, there is measurable difference, sometimes full-blown healing, because the patient thought that the pill had healing inside of it. In fact, in clinical studies, when they do clinical trials of new medicine, they have to prove a consistent improvement above the 55% that is the placebo effect. So one would think, well, wait a minute, why are we even making medicine? Just give them the pill, just give them the sugar pill. Well, we're not here to say there's no such thing as disease. Just think your way out of it. That doesn't make any sense. Of course, if you're sick, go get help. If you've got a headache, take an aspirin. We're not saying that everything can be healed by the mind, but what we are saying is that there's two individuals who are participating in this healing. One of them is the physician who's giving you said medicine, and the other one is you. Inside each and every one of us, we have an internal physician, the internal doctor, and that is the placebo. That is it. It's our internal higher knowledge of how the body works. And the mind directs it because of, by proof of the placebo effect, or, not necessarily proof, but I'm going to say studies suggest that our minds are inextricably part of the healing process. And in fact, if you just want to be very scientific about it, you could take a Petri dish and take someone who is in the middle of a high stress moment, and you could pull some of their DNA and some of their hormones and put them in the dish and look at it. And you will see studies have shown that people in stressful situations emit certain hormones that then affect certain organs that actually can change the DNA in the person. Your mind can directly affect DNA by the way of the hormone response. And so the question is now, can we do that for good? Can I use some process to be, oh, look who's here. Can I use some process to look for the good, to get better at something? Can I use my mind to direct my body to heal? Yes, yes. Oh, yes. I can't wait to talk to you about yes, you can. So today and 2 weeks from today, we're going to discuss how we can use our minds to heal our bodies on purpose and consistently. You don't even have to be in a moment of illness to have it happen. You can take any situation, anything that you are involved with now, and improve it using your mind. And of course, it's going to be meditation, but not just any kind of meditation. It turns out imagery, like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, imagery is one of the oldest communication tools we've had as human beings. We've communicated to one another with images for thousands of years. Those images are connected to our emotions. And those emotions create secretions of certain hormones. Those hormones go throughout our bodies and they affect our organs. Those organs make up our bodies, and here we are. In fact, I read somewhere that in 6 months, we have entirely new bodies. Each cell has swapped out to another cell, and it just sort of swaps itself out. I don't even know how else to say it, but swapping it out. Think about a ship, and as time goes by, certain boards are replaced with other boards. Certain planks are replaced by other planks. Certain ropes are then replaced by new ropes. Eventually, no part of that ship is the original part, but it still is the vessel. That's kind of like our bodies. So we're swapping out old for new. And at some point, we are not even the same bag of cells that we were 6 months ago, yet I'm still Charlene-ish. And so what we're trying to say here, and by we, I mean all of the people that have, participated in my studies up to right now, is that I and you have the ability to create a new body, to create one that is even more healthy, more whole, more complete by using our mental focus, our mental imagery, our meditation, our prayer. Where we put our mind, that's where our bodies go. We have the ability to possibly get younger cellularly, to heal whatever ails us by the use of imagery. And so what I want to do is take you through one of the beginning imagery solutions. That there's a whole bunch of different imagery paths that are in this book. And I don't want to freak anyone out or take too long. So I'll start with a very basic beginning one, just to give you an idea of how imagery and healing can go together in our bodies and helping our bodies be better. So I'll turn on a little bit of background music, not too loud. And if you'd like to get yourselves in a state of comfortability, I don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear it? Okay. So I'll pick a good one for you. Let's do a calmness meditation. So let's begin by taking a deep, full breath, and then allow our exhalation to be a real letting go kind of breath. So go with me. Now pause in your breathing at both the end of the inhalation and exhalation, just briefly, and notice how still it is. You feel the stillness. Notice the sounds around you, anything going around you right now. And just let them go. Let them stay in the background of your awareness. If you get distracted at any time relaxing, just bring your attention back. Now let's relax a little more deeply. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Invite your toes to relax. Notice what happens. Now the rest of your feet, relax them. Release any tension in your feet. Now invite your ankles to relax. No worry, no concern about anything, just relaxing your ankles. Now become aware of the muscles in your shins and calves and your lower legs. Yes, notice how they feel. Invite them to relax. Exactly. Notice your knees and allow them to soften. Your upper legs, your thighs, your hamstrings. Allow them to relax. Release any tension that they don't need to have. Now notice your hips and pelvis, inviting the hips and pelvis to relax. The very bottom part of your back and your buttocks, allow them to soften and relax. Any tension, release. And allowing the whole lower half of your body to continue to relax in its own way, comfortably and easily, without effort or struggle. Now become aware of the midsection of your body, your waistline, your abdomen, your lower back, your mid back. Invite that whole midsection to just relax in its own way. You might move around a little until you relax, until you feel that just right position. As you imagine the trunk of your body relaxing in its own way, let it be a comfortable, pleasant experience. Without worrying at all about how deeply you relax or how you might be even more relaxed, just letting it happen. And bringing your attention to your shoulders. Release and let go and relax your shoulders. Imagine a very pleasant sense of relaxation flowing down through your arms and your elbows. So comfortable down through the forearms, releasing and relaxing, inviting your wrists to relax. And gently turn or stretch your neck if you can, allowing any tension or tightness to just soften and melt away. Just feel the muscles relaxing. Invite your scalp, your forehead to soften and relax and to become cool and soft and at ease. Feel any tension in your scalp or forehead melt away as they become softer, cooler, and more relaxed. Notice the muscles of your face and jaw, and invite your face to be soft, cool, and at ease. Now notice the little muscles around your eyes, and invite the little muscles all around your eyes to soften and relax, to release any pain, tension, or tightness that don't need to be there. Let your jaw relax even more deeply, and your tongue, let it hang there. Imagine now that you are in this place that you love to be, the place that feels good to be in with your relaxed body, and you're totally free of tension, and you're in this area that's just so comforting. And whatever you notice in this area, whether it's by a river or in an open field, whatever you notice is okay. Just notice where you are. Notice what time of day it is, what the temperature is like, what season is it. Notice your feeling. Is there any comfort and peacefulness or relaxation you feel in this place? As you imagine yourself becoming even more comfortable in this place, allow yourself to enjoy these feelings in your own way, with nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Simply allowing the feeling of relaxation to deepen. This is the place where you can always return. This quiet, peaceful, beautiful place where there's nowhere else to go and nothing else to do except to relax and enjoy yourself. Know that know that whenever you want, you can return to this place, for this is you. This is the real you. This is the true relaxed you. And when you are ready, begin to bring your awareness back into this room, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Yes, sweetie. And just slowly open your eyes and return into this place, knowing that all is well. And so it is. Oh, the kitty really loved that one, didn't he? So with that meditation. It was a relaxation that connects you with your body. What did you think? You can type it in the chat. Did you really feel a part of your body? Did you feel like you were there in it? Let me go close the door. Hold on. Yes, anyone? I don't see any chat, but of course I don't have my chat screen up. So with that, I wanted to mention too that with this feeling of just being inside your body, you can go there at any time, because typically when we get stressed out or we get worried, we are in our heads and we're projecting the future, or we're worried about the past. Bringing our attention to the body and being right here present, starting with our toes and coming up slowly through our physical bodies, helps us to ground into our being. Now, if you want to continue this, we're going to be having some sessions every Wednesday night for this month in June. And we're going to be returning to that place and then using some imagery. And a sneak peek, which I'll talk about 2 weeks from now, is there are times when something's going to be ailing you. Maybe there's a headache, or maybe there's a stomach ache. In the teaching of this book, The Worry Solution, part of the imagery process is to ask that body part what it's trying to tell you, and then to really allow whatever images to come forth. And in the book, he gives examples. One woman had a terrible, it's like a muscle eating sort of disease with her upper arms. And her arms were atrophying at a weird pace, like really quickly. And she also had a terrible stomach sort of angst, ulcer-ish kind of pain. And quickly through, and then we can wrap it up. He goes and he sits with her and brings her through these guided imagery, asking her body, what is it that it needs? He asks her about her stomach pain, and she said, it's like there's a fist grabbing her stomach. And he said, well, ask the fist what it wants. And then she said, now it's pointing up to my heart. It's pointing. And she says, well, he goes, okay, let's go to the heart. And he's asking her questions, long therapy session about the heart. And then she imagined what popped out of her heart was her stepfather's face. And then she remembered in that moment that her stepfather would be angry at her and he would grab her by her upper arms and shake her. And he said, okay, this is interesting because your upper arms are the ones that's experiencing this muscle degeneration. Long story short, this was an example of how she was able to, through imagery, get to the source of the problem. And through her mind-body connection, she healed her muscle atrophy. It started to decline. So the degradation was fast and it stopped being as fast. Now, I don't know if it popped right back out to the full-size muscle as it was, but she, using her mind-body connection, decelerated that process of atrophy. So it's just one of the many examples, and there's tons of them. You can read about Norman Cousins, who was very famous for healing himself several times of several diseases through the use of laughter. And it's an amazing thing. And it's not something that you have to be only spiritual to think about. Even doctors are now saying that the patient and their mental state is a partner in the healing process. And so a lot of times they'll sit with their patient and make sure that that patient does not feel alone, does not feel hopeless, and does feel that they have some agency in their healing, because that is the part of it that makes it work. So I'm so excited to get to talk to you about this for the whole month. Yay. Next week, we do have a guest speaker, Audra, and she will be continuing this monthly topic, but it's so much. I'm always so energized by being able to share with you what I'm learning too about this process. So if there's any requests for prayer, I'd like to hear them as we go in and close up our service. Nothing yet? Okay. So let's just close our eyes and go within and just know that all around us and through us and as us, there's the divine. There's only the divine. There's only one, and we are part of it. We're not separate from it. It is already here. We don't have to be worthy to get it. We just have to be aware that it is here. And then we have to open to it. It's already here. There's no spot where God is not, as the kids say. So if God is right where we are, right sitting there in your very presence, in my very presence, nearer to me than my hands and my feet, then all I have to do is say yes to this divine presence, lean into it, and accept my divine inheritance, that this body is the body of God, and that these hands are the hands of God, and that through me and as me, God is. And it's true for all of us. Through us, as us, there God is. We are connected. We are one with one another through this being that we know as the divine. And so in this oneness, in this connection, in this unity, I know that if God is awesome, good, amazing, wonderful, peaceful, abundant, not sick, then I too am awesome, amazing, beautiful, whole, abundant, not sick. I'm healthy, whole, and every organ in my being knows what to do and how to do it. And this is true for each and every one of us. And I especially speak my word for Chakoti Hodge, that right where he is, there is God living and moving and having its being and doing its thing, connecting everything that needs connecting, healing everything back to its original, if not better, state. And that all is well right where he is. All is well in the doctors, in the nurses, in the family members, in every single being that surrounds that person, that lovely, beautiful being, including all the ancestors. They're right there. And all is well. Every single person on this planet, I speak my word that there, right there, is the activity of the divine. It can be no other way. And so as I give thanks for this awareness, I know that it is already unfolding because that's what it does. The universe always says yes. And so I simply relax and know that it is already done. I release it. I let it go. I say, thank you, God. Thank you, life. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Now let's hear from Leah Layla.
Hello.
Morning, CSL Leesburg, Leah here, and Layla. We're going to sing a song by India Ari. It's called Video. Sometimes I shave my legs and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I close my hair and sometimes I won't. Depends on how the wind blows, I might even paint my toes. It really all depends on whatever feels good to my soul. I'm not the average girl from your video. I ain't built like a supermodel, but I learned to love myself unconditionally because I am a queen. I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be who I was born to be.
When I look in the mirror, the only one there is me. Every freckle on my face is where it's supposed to be. And I know my creator didn't make no mistakes on me. My feet, my thighs, my lips, my eyes, I'm loving what I see. I'm not the average girl from your video. I ain't built like a supermodel.
always be.
me.
Now don't be offended, this is all my opinion. Ain't nothing that I'm saying law. It's just a true confession of a lifelong lesson I will sit down and share with y'all.
So get in where you fit in, go on and shine. Clear your mind, now's the time. Put your salt on the shelf, go on and love yourself, 'cause everything's gonna be alright.
I'm not the average girl from your video. I ain't built like a supermodel, but I've learned to love myself unconditionally because I am a queen. I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be who I was born to be.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness. So many wonderful things in the message and the music today. Thank you, everyone who put this service together. And speaking of that, it's time to bless the donations that are shared with us today. At CSL Leesburg, we believe in the law of circulation, so we are a tithing community. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. As you look at the screen, you can see that there are so many ways for you to give. It's easy to find something that works just for you. We thank you so much for your support. We can't do what we do each Sunday without your support. Now, no matter how you are giving, please join me in our affirmation of oneness as we bless our gifts. You can place it over your heart, maybe physically or just using your imagination, knowing that you're giving. And join me as we say, the presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness and delight of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. Now it's time for our announcements. Let's check it out. So Tuesdays, folks, if you can join Charlene and her friends on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m., they explore dreams. And we know that our dreams sometimes are very confusing, but when you meet with others, they can help you interpret your dreams. And maybe you can discover some hidden messages that are in your dreams where spirit is trying to talk to you, trying to show you, trying to give you some guidance. Like I said, if you can, join them on Tuesday mornings. It's a lot of fun. And then midweek, Wednesdays.
In June. Sorry, June is the same. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's June. So midweek, we check in and we meet at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from what I was gathering from what Charlene was saying, in the month of June, we're going to be doing a lot of meditations, a lot of visioning, a lot of imagery and exploring. And I'm thinking just a lot of healing and focusing on ourselves and what we need to do to get better and better and make everything just so good in our lives. So join us if you can midweek on Wednesday. All right, loving the images that you picked out, Char. Loving this in the month of June. So now as we end our sacred time together, I want you to once again just place your hand over your heart. And I want you to think about how amazing your body is. Like Charlene said, there's stuff going on that you don't even have to think about what's going on in your body. Your cells are doing what they're supposed to do. Your organs, your muscles, your bones, everything's working together. And just remind yourself that you are divine and say, I am love.
I am love.
Love hearing that. That's right. You are a blessing to yourself. I am a blessing to myself. Just let those words resonate within your soul. Now I want you to look out at somebody who's in the room with you, maybe a furry friend, somebody, I know, Charlene, or maybe it's somebody on the screen, and just look at them and say, you are love.
You are love.
Love. That's right. You are a blessing to mankind. Isn't that a wonderful feeling? Now I want you to join me. We put our hands up in the air and we say, it's all love.
It's all love.
All love. Oh, that's right. You are a blessing to the day in which you live. You are making this world a better place just by being you. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you can hang around, stay with us. We do something called Pearls, where we talk about what Charlene and what Leah and Leah just shared in their music. We talk about it, we explore, we say what resonates with us, those little nuggets that we're going to hang on to this week. And we share and we explore and we just extend our time together. If you can't, then we send you off with our blessings, knowing that you are going to have a fantastic day. Join us if you can. Hang around with us if you can't. Bye. Thanks so much for joining us here today. And that's that.
Larry, make sure you end the event on yeah, there you go. Whew.
Like,
Yes!